So in our Gamescom episode, we talked about a new indie horror game called PT that turned out not to be a new indie horror game called PT, but actually a demo for Silent Hills, the new Silent Hill game from Hideo Kojima, Guillermo del Toro, and starring Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead. We were super duper excited, and we just kind of want to talk about some more because there's still some stuff that we're still learning about it, that we're still discovering, especially since I still have not finished the final puzzle yet. So let's talk about it some more.
So, in our Gamescom episode, I mentioned how I played about 3 minutes and then quit because it was terrifying, which it is.
Yes, it is.
And since then I played more, and it's still terrifying, but even more so because it gets more fucked up and weird.
Which is awesome.
But one of the things that I have to say, this is one of the greatest, like, marketing ideas because this is such a high quality, just little snippet of a game. They could have sold this and made money off of it as like a $5 indie game or something.
And I'm getting several hours out of it, even though it's mostly because I'm stuck, but carry on.
But, you know, people are still picking apart. People are still finding new things, and there is a lot to unpack here. And nobody knows which parts are going to actually, you know, point towards the new Silent Hill game and which things are just red herrings. And that's what I think is really cool. But yeah, you're in the game. You're basically just going through a hallway. A hallway. It's almost midnight. And yeah, there's a bathroom. There's a doorway that looks like it's like an entryway that leads, who knows, because you can't open the door. And there's also a doorway that'll help you kind of repeat the cycle.
Right.
And as you kind of do these tasks that you... nobody really knows which tasks are kind of going to move you on to the next position. Things get weirder and weirder.
Yeah, and we should specify the tasks in this game are literally just looking, which is such a cool mechanic and such a good twist on the idea of the politics of the gaze that is so central to horror. And it's one of the things that they talk about a lot in like film theory about horror movies is the idea that there are certain people that can look and certain people that are punished for looking. And in this game, you are both rewarded with progression, but also punished with having the crap scared out of you by looking. And it's this really great kind of dynamic that happens. And it reminded me a lot. There was this chapter in a book called Screenplay by Tanya Krzywinska called Hands on Horror. And it kind of talks about how the key tension in horror games is the tension between doing and not doing. And in this game, it's like technically, I'm sure a lot of, you know, ludologist purists, if those still exist, would say you're not doing anything, you're just looking. But there is this tension, especially because the hallway, there's a corner in it. And I remember one time, I think I texted you because I was like, oh my God, I don't want to do this corner, because I could almost see around it, there was a woman standing there. And there's this real tension between, I know I need to go forward to progress, but I don't know if I want to go forward and see and have this woman jump me or whatever is going to happen when I see her.
Exactly.
And because games don't have that kind of, we kind of talked about this in the Walking Dead episode, they don't have that kind of temporal control to have traditional suspense. That becomes the site of suspense, kind of that will I or won't I. And the fact that they kind of boiled it down to those key elements for this demo and polished it so well is just, it makes me so happy and it scares me and I love it.
And really the series hasn't really tackled the first person and the gaze that much, other than kind of the black sheep of the series, which was Silent Hill 4: The Room, which had first person perspective while you were in your apartment before you kind of went into the Silent Hill. And much like PT, as time goes on, the weirder and weirder it gets.
And there are holes in the bathroom.
There are holes in the bathroom. There's holes in the wall, and you can like spy on your neighbor Eileen, and it just did so much with looking and eyes,
especially with the idea of who can look and who can't, because Eileen arguably she's the only neighbor that seems to be really trying to look and see what's going on with Henry, the main character. You see her sometimes when you go to like the peephole in your door, she's looking back trying to figure out what's going on. And then she's arguably punished for looking by being attacked by the serial killer. Spoilers. Whereas Henry is allowed to look out the peephole at everyone in the hallway. He's allowed to look through a weird, creepy peephole that goes directly into Eileen's apartment, which, after she's attacked, you know, you had that Robbie the Rabbit doll that is looking straight at you, and I think he's even pointing, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I played. But there's this real tension between, you know, you're looking, whether or not you should be looking, even though you have to in order to trigger things and to progress, and also really implicating you. Like, the game's like, this is wrong, you know? You're not supposed to be peeking on her. And there is that sense here, too. Like, even though it's just that single hallway, there's that sense that you're not supposed to be here. You're going to be punished. But at the same time, that's what you have to do. And I think, we talked about this in the Gamescom episode, I have a feeling it's going to be a lot like Silent Hill 4 in the sense that it's going to be some parts are first person, some are third. I think Hideo Kojima has since come out in an interview and said that he's toying with the idea of first person in the actual game. But like I said in our previous episode, you know, I don't think they'd pay for Norman Reedus and not show him unless it's like a hallway of mirror after hallway of mirrors.
Which could be terrifying.
Which could also, that could be terrifying too.
And, you know, just since we're talking about Silent Hill 4 The Room, I know that I've talked to you a lot about how much I liked that game in spite of so many flaws it has. Yeah. I think that it has one of the most, I think, solid stories of the games in Silent Hill. It just has the worst gameplay. Yeah. But it has a lot of really good ideas in there. Like, I love the idea of the ghosts and the enemies that you can't beat. They're so annoying. Yeah. I would have liked them more if there were more of the swords to pin them down. Yeah.
Yeah, I also really like, this is kind of getting away from it, but I really like the idea of that game. It kind of finished out, like, the Konami, the Japanese development team working on this game. Kirio Mooka produced it. And I like the idea that it kind of pulled back from Silent Hill a little bit, where, like, Silent Hill 3 was all about the cult and kind of resolving that. Now we have this guy from the outside who just sounds increasingly exasperated the more you get through the game. And I kind of like that idea of, like, ending it like that. Like, Silent Hill, what is wrong with that place, man? Yeah. Trying to think. Oh, there's been a couple of news things that people have discovered in the demo since we first talked about it that might be worth talking about. For instance, there's a lot of stuff in other languages that pop up. There's, like, the words that pop up when you find the pieces of the photograph. And someone found a Swedish broadcast that comes over the radio. And apparently it's referencing War of the Worlds, which
was so weird, and because Silent Hill's always had the UFO endings, but they've never been serious.
Maybe that's the big twist.
Yeah.
It was the UFO ending all the time. And trying to think, at one time when I was trying to finish the stupid last puzzle, I got the backwards voice, which I'm not sure what it says. It's this slow backwards voice, the male voice that comes on. And I've only had it once. There's just so many little things, and it's hard to tell what is, like you said, the red herrings and just there to scare you because, as we discussed in our last episode, abject horror means the system breaks down. So it makes sense to have the stuff that you just cannot wrap your brain around. And then how much of it is clues to what Silent Hills will be about. Which, I don't know, have you discovered anything while playing?
No.
Okay.
I tried to discover as little as possible. Yeah. Because I was playing it and I was like, okay, I can continue on making progress. And then one time, literally all I did is I went through the door, I'm back in the hallway again, and I accidentally pressed the back button. Oh. And the ghost killed me. And I was like, what? And, it just comes out of nowhere, and it's terrifying. Yeah.
Apparently, there's also a ghost that appears in, like, the balcony above the doorway, which as soon as I noticed there's a balcony up there, I'm like, there's going to be a ghost there. I'm just going to keep my head down and not look.
Yeah.
And sure enough, someone found one, which makes me wonder what other stuff is just hidden there. Yeah, I really like this demo. Even when I'm frustrated, like, I can't get the baby to laugh twice. I got it to laugh twice once, and then I moved while the controller was rumbling, and I cannot reproduce it.
And then there's that code that gets repeated, 204863, and there are all these different theories, and I have no idea. And it's so interesting.
I love being able, even though I'm frustrated, I get on the internet, like, how do I solve this? And it's, like, my faith is renewed when I see all the different threads and, like, the comment sections of people just, like, comparing notes. It's like, this is a frustrating game, but it's a good game. I love this water cooler discussion.
Yeah, it is really
among the entire internet.
Yeah, it's kind of fostering this community of people who have to kind of think critically about things. I mean,
not that they wouldn't do that anyway, but it's kind of uniting us on top of one thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So we could all come together and talk about it, which is really cool.
And then randomly on Tumblr, people have been bringing up how Hideo Kojima and Japanese, basically legendary horror manga writer Junji Ito kind of know each other.
Yes.
And if Junji Ito got involved, I would have to wear a diaper. I'd be screwed, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
game over.
His work is terrifying. I mean, he's done Uzumaki and Tomie and Gyo, and those are just all very kind of important. I mean, if you have Junji Ito and Guillermo del Toro doing a game, it's just kind of like, I'm going to support it, but I'm not sure if I'm ever going to take it out of its wrap.
Right. I can't remember being this excited about a game.
Yeah. Same here. So how would you feel if they kind of rewrote the history and instead of it being Alessa Gillespie, it was aliens?
I'm not one of those people that... I love the games, but I'm not married to the canon in any way. So I would think it was hilarious, but I'm sure there would be some people that would just... That would make them so angry. Mm-hmm. And they would never, ever forgive them. And I don't know if it's worth that.
Yeah.
But I would think it was funny. And, yeah... But I wonder what else it could be, or if, like, you know, they always say on those shows about alien abductions, like, you know, back in the day, people thought they were being possessed by the devil. Now the aliens are kind of our modern reference. So maybe that's just saying, like, this is what people are saying aliens, but that's just to explain the weird stuff that's happening in Silent Hill that is just the result of Silent Hill being an evil, horrible place. So, I don't know.
I don't know, but I cannot wait to find out.
Me too! So there you have it. Some of our extended thoughts on PT. We'd love to hear your theories, your surefire solutions for that last puzzle, please. Oh my god. If you want to leave those in the comments, we'd love to hear them. And don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date with our latest discussions.
I'm going to Silent Hill, and I'm gonna bust some heads.
Oh, Dad, you're the coolest!